Welcome to Mind Shield. We protect the mind and pursue the truth. Let's get started.
Welcome to this explainer. I want you to imagine a guy named Marcus. He's honestly just like any of us, right? He completely relies on his smartphone for absolutely everything. We're talking banking, emails, getting to work, texting his family, the whole shebang. But lately, when Marcus looks down at that dark glass screen, he doesn't just see a helpful little pocket computer anymore. He sees his own reflection, and he's hesitating. His fingers are literally pausing over the keyboard because his everyday device has started to feel a lot less like a locked, private diary and way more like an open window into his personal life.
So what exactly is going on here? Well, Marcus is dealing with this profound, creeping sense of digital unease. The technology he normally trusts without a second thought is starting to behave in these totally unpredictable ways. He's second-guessing himself before he even types a message. He's starting to wonder if the phone in his pocket is actually working for him or if it's quietly working against him. And honestly, it brings up this chilling question that I think a lot of us have quietly asked ourselves at some point. Is this just a weird software glitch, or is someone actually watching me?
To really get why Marcus is feeling so unsettled, we need to look at the actual, tangible signs he's noticing. And the crazy part is, we're talking about totally plausible, everyday symptoms that you and I have probably dealt with. His phone's battery is draining unusually fast, even when it's just sitting untouched on his desk. Apps are crashing out of nowhere or acting super sluggish. Sometimes a notification will flash on the screen and then just vanish before he can even read it. He's seeing weird syncing delays across his accounts, or a message will randomly pop up in a thread where it absolutely doesn't belong. Now sure, individually, these might just mean your phone is getting a little old, but when they all happen together, it creates this deeply unsettling atmosphere. And this hits right on the psychological layer of what's happening. Our source material puts this perfectly, pointing out that this kind of unpredictability creates very real fear, confusion, and stress for the victim. It's actually often called digital gaslighting, because when the devices you use to navigate your entire reality become unreliable, you literally start to doubt your own sanity. You catch yourself wondering, wait, did I accidentally delete those emails, or did somebody else do that? Suddenly, your familiar, safe world feels incredibly hostile.
Section 1. Everyday Device Vulnerabilities. Let's look at how modern tech naturally exposes personal data.
Here's the truly wild part about all of this. Our silent devices are actually incredibly loud. Even when Marcus's phone is just sitting there in his pocket, doing nothing, it is constantly shouting its presence out to the world. It emits these low-power signals, things like Wi-Fi probe requests and Bluetooth beacons, because it's constantly searching for known networks or accessories. Passive sniffers, which are just devices designed to listen for these specific signals, can easily pick them up. So someone standing just outside a building could potentially detect those signals and track a person's physical presence just based on the unique MAC address that their phone is continuously broadcasting. It's essentially a digital fingerprint floating through the air.
But hold on, we have to be careful here. It is absolutely crucial to separate normal background noise from a genuine, targeted attack. We have to contrast normal exposure with active intrusion. Normal exposure is just your phone doing its job, right? It's network handshakes, routine app updates, and those Bluetooth beacons we just talked about. Active intrusion, on the other hand, is when an attacker actually weaponizes those everyday features. Think about someone setting up a rogue, evil twin Wi-Fi hotspot at your local coffee shop. It looks exactly like the cafe's real network, but it's designed to intercept your communications. Or they might use Bluetooth exploits, like Blueborn, to gain unauthorized access without you ever even clicking a malicious link.
And guys, this vulnerability definitely doesn't stop at the smartphone. The modern smart home is basically this massive web of connected, and honestly often poorly secured, Internet of Things devices. If your home network gets compromised, an attacker can covertly mess with these gadgets. Just imagine Marcus sitting on his couch. Suddenly, his smart thermostat inexplicably drops the temperature by 10 degrees. The smart lock on his front door starts clicking and behaving erratically. The TV volume spikes to maximum on its own, or an indoor security camera physically pans across the room by itself. It takes that confusion and stress and scales it up exponentially, turning his own living room into a nightmare.
So, surrounded by all these potential vulnerabilities, Marcus is left just staring at his rapidly draining phone battery and his glitching TV, feeling completely overwhelmed. How in the world are we supposed to separate a true malicious threat from a simple, benign tech glitch? Well, to get his life back, Marcus has to stop panicking. He needs to pivot, step back, and become a digital detective. Which brings us to Section 2, Establishing Your Digital Baseline. This is the core investigative principle of digital hygiene. Before you can possibly hope to identify an actual intrusion, you first have to have a rock-solid understanding of what normal looks like for your own tech. In the professional cybersecurity world, this concept is called User and Entity Behavior Analytics, or UEBA. Basically, corporate networks map out what an average Tuesday looks like. If an employee suddenly tries to download a terabyte of restricted data at 3 a.m., the system immediately flags it because it deviates wildly from their normal baseline. Marcus needs to apply this exact same logic to his personal life. He has to methodically map out his own digital baseline so he can separate his own user errors or just a bad app update from an actual attacker.
The whole trick here is knowing exactly how to categorize what you're observing. Say Marcus checks his router activity and sees his phone and his smart TV connected. Great, that's his baseline. But if he suddenly sees an unknown MAC address pulling data on his network, that's a potential intrusion. If his phone is just running a little slow during evening rush hour, that's probably just network congestion. But if new apps are magically installed on his home screen that he definitely didn't approve, huge red flag. Mapping out your observations like this is a game changer. It shifts your brain out of a state of helpless paranoia and into a state of methodical, empowered evaluation.
Moving right along to Section 3, the basic digital audit. Time for taking methodical, practical action.
Okay, so you know what's normal, and you finally spot something that truly isn't. What do you actually do? You need a response plan, drawn straight from real-world hacking response checklists. The absolute first step of this audit is locking down the environment and stopping any potential bleeding. If Marcus suspects a breach, he needs to immediately change his passwords and slap two-factor authentication on every critical account. If one specific device is acting rogue, he needs to literally sever its connection to the internet right then and there. After that, it's time to run rigorous malware scans and get all his most important data backed up to a physical offline hard drive that nobody can touch remotely.
But securing the data, that's only half the battle. Next, Marcus has to put that detective hat back on and act like a forensic investigator. Look, if there is a real attacker, smashing your phone out of frustration just destroys the evidence. Instead, you have to meticulously preserve everything. Take screenshots of those weird messages or deleted emails. Save the URLs and get the exact timestamps. Pull the router logs. Check the activity logs on your social and email accounts to see if there are successful logins from cities you've literally never been to. The physical evidence has to remain safely unaltered.
And why are we doing all this? Because all of this evidence gathering feeds into one master objective: maintaining a chronological incident log. By documenting every single anomaly with screenshots, dates, and exact times, Marcus isn't just frantically taking notes anymore. He is building what investigators call a prosecutor-grade timeline. Once you have a clear, chronological pattern of events backed by hard data, you don't sound like a paranoid victim. You become a highly credible witness, someone that IT professionals, authorities, or legal counsel can actually step in and assist. Look, technology is incredibly messy, and our digital lives are so exposed just by the very nature of how modern devices have to function. But whether you're dealing with a faulty phone battery, an aging router, or a highly targeted digital exploit, the solution always starts in the exact same place. You have to take back control of your environment. You establish your baseline. You secure your footprint, and you track the anomalies. So I'll leave you with this to think about. If someone asked you to audit your own home network right now, would you actually know what normal looks like? Because when it comes down to taking back your privacy, your very first line of defense is simply knowing what your system normally does.